We're back.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us here in the Navigant Credit Union Broadcast Center. I'm Molly O'Brien and I'm joined here by my new friend Nick Wishart. This man, I'm not quite sure how much energy you have and what decisions you're making, but I'm so excited to talk about this. You are going to run the World Marathon Challenge in January of 2018. So I looked at your website, 94 days away. There's like a countdown of hours, minutes, time.
Who's counting, right?
Yeah, exactly. Your website is.
Right.
So this is so cool. You're going to be the first person from Rhode Island to do this. Also have the information that I believe around 70 people have completed this.
Yep.
So 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days. So amazing, so awesome. You live in Pawtucket. Tell me a little bit about what made you take on this extreme challenge and incredible journey.
Well, I've always been a runner since high school, and a couple years ago, the first annual race was in 2015, and I saw a little piece on ESPN about they featured one runner in the event, and I just thought it was an amazingly cool idea. I love the travel part, love the running part, and back then they just flew commercial to get all these people around the world, and I kind of thought about it for a while, let it sit. The next year the race came up again, and a girl from Belmont, Mass participated in it, did really well, and I called her and asked her about it, and she basically convinced me that, you know, I had to try this. So this was like about a year ago in November, and I signed up, and here we are.
And I remember following her story because I heard about it and I was like, this is wild. There are a lot of adjectives that you could use to describe it.
Right.
You've run Boston 3 times, right?
Correct.
You've run the New York Marathon. You've
Correct.
run a bunch of marathons before. Have you ever run a marathon back to back?
No.
Okay.
Not even in the same year. So there's a lot of unknowns for me. A lot of, the fear of the unknown is what kind of gives me pause. But no, I've never done anything even close to this.
All right. So how do you train for something like this?
Well, there's a lot of different ways. My approach has been run 3 days a week, 3 days a week of working out in the gym at Industrial Revolution CrossFit. I'm not a kid anymore, so the days of running, 6 days a week, 80 or 90 miles a week are just sort of over for me. So I figured if I just get in really good physical shape, good core strength, get the miles in, but not go crazy, and just really take my time with the training. I've been kind of, dedicated to the training portion of this since last Christmas. So rather than, traditional marathon, I might train for 3 or 4 months, hard for it. This time it's more like 10 months or a year. So I'm really, I will be in hopefully as good a shape as I've ever been. Hopefully.
Cross your fingers. Do you feel like there's well, I feel like with running there's always the mental aspect, and with marathoning there's definitely a mental aspect to it. Do you have to put yourself in some sort of mind frame, and if so, what mind frame does that need to be?
Well, they're giving us a lot of time to do each race. They're giving us 8 hours to do each marathon.
Okay, that was my next question.
They want to make it fair. They want, it's an expensive trip. They want everybody to finish each day. They want us to, you could walk and run. I mean, you could almost walk a marathon in 8 hours if you had to. So it's just a matter of really being patient. I'm going to sort of shut work off for the whole week, so I won't have my phone, going off every minute. So I can, and my wife's going to go with me. So it'll be great to see her face every 3 or 4 miles because it's all looped courses. Each marathon is like 5 3-mile loops, something like that, 6 3-mile loops. So it's just to be patient. And, if it takes 4 hours, if it takes 4.5, whatever, it's just not to, and to pace myself each day because I can't get all excited on day one.
Oh, this is awesome!
Right. I can't get, overdo it on day one. I mean, if you're doing a marathon, all you have to think about is, 5 more miles, 3 more miles, whatever number to get, and then you can take a year off. You can sit on the couch for however long you need to. So I have to be thinking, be ready to recover, get food and get everything in my body that I need to so I can get ready for the next day. So it's really patience.
Patience is none. So I was thinking about this. I'm thinking, okay, I have a million questions that I want to ask you. But not only is it the physical aspect of it, the mental aspect of it, but then you throw in the travel. I think I have jet lag when I'm fly across the country home to see my family.
Right.
So my understanding is you start in the Antarctic Circle.
Correct.
But then you are going, where it is, you start with Cape Town.
We
and
meet
your
in Cape Town.
Okay, yeah.
Fly to Antarctica for the first race, and then back to Cape Town for the second race, and then Australia, Dubai, Portugal, Colombia, and then Miami.
So, I mean, that's a lot of travel. So how do you factor that into it?
Well, it's
not thinking about it.
The race director is really spoiling us. Like I said, the first 2 years they flew commercial, and they probably only had 10 or 11 hours on the ground in each city. So it was literally get off the plane, run, right back on the plane.
Just add the plane into the finish line.
Pretty much. Now he's chartered a plane, a bigger plane, no fuel stops needed. So we're going to have more like 16, 17, 18 hours in each spot. So literally enough time to like relax a little bit, go get a room in a hotel if we need to, see the sights. And, you know, customs won't be quite as crazy because it'll be, you know, I'm sure with a private charter, you don't have to do as much of that, waiting in line.
You're still on an airplane though.
It's true, but I mean, I should have, the plane though is amazing. It's like, it's got lay flat seats, it's got couches, it only seats 100, it's like a jet that only seats 100, so we're going to get to spread out, we're going to get to relax. And we're gaining time. He used to end in Australia, so you're losing time every leg of the race. Now, we the first few are going to be rough, but then once we get to Perth and work our way back, you're gaining huge chunks of time each day. So that I think there's a psychological benefit of that. We'll see.
Well, I guess we'll find out, right? All right. So let's talk a little bit about some of the aspects of actually doing this. So you're on a mission. One, we talked a little bit about the charter aspect of it and fueling and all that kind of thing. So you are looking for sponsorship to actually make this trip happen. And part of that sponsorship is you're raising money for March of Dimes, for the RISPCA, and the Rhode Island Community Food Bank.
Correct.
Talk to me a little bit about raising money for these organizations and why that's important to you.
Well, when we first signed up for the trip, obviously it's expensive, so we were looking for sponsors or people to contribute to help us pay for the trip. And then my wife and I and friends of ours immediately said, well, you should do more than that. Our 2-year-old was born a month early, and so that's why the March of Dimes kind of hit home for us. She spent 10 days at the NICU down the road here. We have a rescue dog that we got from the Caribbean, whose name is Dude, and so that, the SPCA meant a lot for that reason. And we have friends who used to work at the food bank, and that kind of hit home with them. So sure, I mean, it'd be great to raise money just to go on the trip, but we thought we needed to do more, and it's been the love and the support and the interest from people has been amazing, and I think people get a kick out of, or have been really enjoying doing more than just contributing to us, but helping us help these charities. And we've done, we're going to go do a food drive one day at the food bank, or we're going to work at the food bank one day. I did a couple of March of Dimes things. They did a walk in the spring. We went and did that. Got to meet a lot of people who work for them. So that's really been like as important to us and as big of a deal as the run itself.
I think that's awesome, and all fantastic organizations within our community to be able to give back to in any way, shape, or form.
Totally.
They all do such great work. Let's talk a little bit about what your expectations are for going into this, because you can try all you want to run 7 marathons in 7 days on 7 continents. What happens if you don't make it? I mean, there's the possibility that you could very well trip and fall or something.
Yeah, only one person has not finished out of the 60, whatever, and he went into it with an injury and tried to gut it out because he'd already paid for the trip. Mm-hmm. And I think on day 2, he had some ankle or foot thing, and there's a doctor who goes with us, and he basically told him he couldn't continue. So, all I can do is get in the best shape I can. I mean, I can't duplicate it, I can't replicate it, I can't do any, even if I ran 7 marathons in a week here, it doesn't factor in the flying and the eating and the lack of sleep and the time changes and who on the plane might be sick and get the rest of us sick.
Oh, I didn't
You know what I mean?
think of that.
So, I mean, I'm going to go visit my doctors and get some, emergency and whatever they'll give me to bring along. But
Yeah, you have to get shots?
no shots.
No shots?
But
Okay.
I'm going to take, bring some emergency antibiotic type stuff, just in case I get a sore throat or start to feel a little run down. Because I'm awful, many of us are. I'm awful when I'm not on, when I don't get my sleep. So that really has me worried. But again, we have all this time. So if I have to walk one day or do a mile walk, a mile run, and it takes 6 hours or 7 hours, I'll still be in under the time gap, and I'll still have 6 or 7 hours in that city to recover. So I just have to be in the best shape I can possibly be in, and every day counts for that. I mean, I'm on like a pretty strict schedule as far as my workouts and which days I run and which days I go to the gym, and all I can do is get in great shape and a little more of this.
I think that's so cool. So a couple other questions for you, and then we'll let you go. Do you listen to some big runners just run, they're in the zone, they don't need music. Do you listen to music when you run in your training? And will you during this challenge?
I never did until a couple years ago when I sort of needed my phone for work, so it's like attached to my arm, and now I just listen
working
to...
well,
I just have a playlist that I put together that I listen to when I'm running, but I never did that until a couple years ago. So I have. Will I on the trip? Maybe not too much, because I'm probably going to be running there's 60 of us. I'm hoping that I'm going to be running with other people. We're going to spread out a little.
Can you talk and run that much?
Well, I just don't want them to, to be blaring my music, and I don't wear earphones. I just sort of let it, So I'll have it. I heard people tried to listen to music or get their phones to work on Antarctica, and it was too cold, and like their phones froze, literally. So I'm sure I will just try to take in the sights that day and not worry about it. But on the other days, I'll have it. I'll have it there, but I kind of want to take it in, and whatever the sounds and sights are, I want to make sure I take all that stuff in. And if I wind up, getting separated from the group and I'm alone, sure, I'll play it, but maybe about half the time.
What's just a few of your favorite running songs, or what type of music?
I listen to like Linkin Park and Rush, old stuff like that, like more grungy rock, stuff like that.
Okay, cool. And what are the things that you have to eat before a run?
Oh gosh, I eat a lot. I eat like turkey sandwiches. I eat chicken and sweet potatoes. I'm eating more vegetables. I used to be a burgers and fries guy, literally, before I did this. And even when I was running marathons when I was like in my 30s, I was able to survive on Wendy's chicken sandwiches.
And I don't think there's a Wendy's in Antarctica.
Right, and my body felt fine, but now, I don't feel as good when I'm not eating the right stuff. So it's a lot of protein, it's a lot of carbs. I'm working with a guy at the gym, Dave, who's helping me with nutrition and counting my macros and calories and stuff. So it's just more good, healthy stuff.
Awesome. I love that. And this is our friend calling in for the next interview, so we'll get to him in just a moment. But Nick, this is awesome. Really looking forward to you running the World Marathon Challenge. Keep us up to date and in the loop on how you do, how things go. If you're interested in being a sponsor for him, you can head over to his webpage. It's nickwmc.com. We'll have a link on our webpage as well, so you can find out all of his information and keep updated with him. You'll keep us in the loop?
I will. Thanks,
all right.
Molly.
I love
Appreciate
that.
it.
So awesome. Such a pleasure meeting you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today and filling us in. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Don't get injured between now and then, okay?
Lots of fingers crossed. Thanks again.
Awesome. All right, everyone, hang tight for our next guest here on Go Local Live.